Hello, I'm Maria. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ontario, Canada, and this is my third video depicting the cards that I made using the Artistically Inked stamp set with its dies and the Impressions in Ink Designer Series paper. That's a mouthful. Anyway, this is card number 3. I will put links to the videos that I made with cards number 1 and cards number 2. This is probably the most detailed of the 3 cards. I started with the simpler version, made it more complex with the second one, and this is the most detailed one. So let's get going. The supplies you'll need to make this card, you'll have a card base of pale papaya, and layered on that is the Whisper white layer, and attached to that is a layer of the Impressions in Ink Designer paper. Now, the measurements for each of these will be in the description below. And for the inside, there is also a piece of Whisper white, and included in what you'll need is a basic white. I still want to call it Whisper white, a basic white envelope. As well, you'll need some extra basic white to do the stamping on. And I'm just using some scraps rather than a whole bunch of different, cutting a new piece of cardstock. And so I'm going to use all of the new in colors today. So the first one is this small, it almost looks like a rose. And I'm going to stamp it in polished pink. And I have my stamp set off camera because I have a small working surface. And I'm going to avoid opening and closing my stamps because they make too much noise. How do I know that? It's because I've had to redo the video a couple of times because of that. Okay, now the 3 triad of flowers, I'm going to stamp them once with pale papaya. And I'll just quickly clean my stamp. And the second one with fresh freesia. Then the leaves, I'm going to stamp. And on my sample, I have the smaller leaves, but these are the 2 leaves together. And I'm going to stamp 2 of them. And the second one, I've kind of run out of room. Okay, now I'm going to use the dies to die cut them, but of course, I've already die cut them for you. And before I put my stamps in that away, I have punched an oval using the dual oval punch. The scallop one is in pale papaya. This one is in basic white. And I'm going to punch a sentiment called Best Wishes, which is from the stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it in polished pink. And yes, you really can stamp on that. There we go. Okay, now there's more stamping. I'm going to stamp on the inside as well. And I'm going to stamp using this long stamp, and I'm going to stamp it using pale papaya. Now, I already have done it on the inside because I stamped it on using this stamp in with the first card, but I can certainly do it again. So I use pale papaya, and as I mentioned before, stamping with this big stamp is wonderful because if you make mistakes, you can just go right over top and you don't even know it. There. Now there's a spot there up at the top here, and I can just take my stamp and I can take this corner and cover it up. There's maybe a spot here and here. Oh, and there's one along the edge here. There. And that is for the inside of the card. Just move that out of the way, and I'll turn this over. Now that'll go on the inside of the card, and I already have adhered it. Okay, now I've already adhered the designer paper to the basic white, and so I can start using the other elements of the card. Now the other thing that I have cut a piece of pale papaya in 1/2 inch by 4 1/4, and I will add that right to the bottom, and I use that to adhere the ribbon to, and it provides a little bit of interest as well. And I'll just lift that up. I don't think I have that centered quite right. Move that up a bit. Oh, here it is. Okay, now I can add the other elements. And here is the card. And I'm going to do the best wishes first.